was 2 in the morning and Ryan was still awake. His dorm room looked like a disaster zone. Empty coffee cups covered every surface. Energy drink cans piled up near the trash bin. Textbooks lay open everywhere, some with coffee stains that turned the pages brown. His laptop sat in the middle of this mess, the screen showing complicated equations that made his head hurt. Ryan rubbed his eyes and reached for his water bottle. He'd been studying thermodynamics for 6 hours straight. The exam was in 2 days and he felt nowhere near ready. As he grabbed the bottle, his elbow knocked it over. Water splashed everywhere. It soaked his chemistry notes. It ran across his keyboard. Drops hit the floor. Not again, he muttered, jumping up to grab paper towels from the bathroom. This was the 3rd time this week. Last Tuesday, he'd knocked over an entire cup of coffee onto his physics homework. He had to redo 4 hours of calculations. On Thursday, his roommate accidentally kicked over a soda can that ruined Ryan's biology notes right before a quiz. Ryan cleaned up the water, watching it drip from his now damaged notes onto the floor. His desk was only 4 feet wide. Between his laptop, 3 textbooks, 2 notebooks, a calculator, pens, his phone, and trying to fit a drink somewhere, there simply wasn't enough room. Something always ended up in the wrong place. He sat back down, staring at his laptop. The desk had no good spot for a cup. Too far away and he'd have to keep reaching for it. Too close and he'd knock it over like he just did. He tried putting drinks on the floor, but then he'd forget about them and kick them over. That's when something clicked in his brain. What if the cup could attach to the laptop itself, like right on the side of it? That would save desk space and keep drinks out of the danger zone. Ryan grabbed his notebook and started sketching. He drew a clip that could attach to a laptop side, maybe with a magnet or a clamp. His pencil moved quickly across the page. He added a cup holder part. Then he thought about different cup sizes. Coffee mugs, water bottles, soda cans. It needed to fit all of them. His roommate Tyler walked in from a late shift at the campus bookstore. He saw Ryan hunched over his notebook, drawing instead of studying. "Dude, what are you doing? Don't you have that huge exam?" Ryan looked up, excited. "Look at this. A cup holder that attaches to your laptop. No more spills." Tyler glanced at the sketch and shrugged. "I just put my drink on the other side of my desk." "But doesn't it get in the way? Don't you ever knock things over?" "Sometimes, I guess." Tyler kicked off his shoes. "But isn't that just normal? Everyone deals with it." "Exactly," Ryan said, his voice getting louder with excitement. "Everyone deals with it. That means everyone might want a solution." Tyler just laughed. "Man, you're overthinking it. It's just a cup. Now go study before you fail." But Ryan couldn't stop thinking about it. The next day, instead of reviewing his notes during lunch, he sat in the campus library watching other students. The place was packed with people studying for finals, and everywhere he looked, he saw the same problem. A girl at the table across from him knocked over her iced coffee. It spilled all over her papers. She cursed quietly and ran to get napkins. 2 tables down, a guy carefully tried to position his energy drink between 2 stacks of books. It fell over anyway, and he spent 10 minutes cleaning sticky liquid off his laptop keyboard. Near the windows, 3 students had their drinks on the floor beside their chairs. One girl almost kicked hers over when she adjusted her seat. She caught it just in time and moved it farther away. Now she had to lean way down every time she wanted a sip. Ryan pulled out his notebook and started writing observations. People needed their drinks close while studying, but desks were too small and cluttered. Drinks on the floor got kicked. Drinks on desks got knocked over. Some people gave up and just went to get a fresh drink every hour instead of keeping one nearby. This wasn't just his problem. This was everybody's problem, and nobody had fixed it yet. That night after his thermodynamics exam, which honestly didn't go great because he kept thinking about his invention idea, Ryan went back to his dorm and looked up similar products online. He found a few desk cup holders, but they were bulky and took up desk space. He found some that clamped to desk edges, but those didn't work if you studied on your bed or couch. Nothing attached directly to the laptop itself. Nothing was portable and moved with you wherever you took your computer. His heart started beating faster. Maybe this could actually work. Maybe this was something people really needed. Ryan opened a fresh page in his notebook and started making a real plan. He wrote down questions he needed to answer. What materials would work best? How strong would the magnet need to be? Would it scratch the laptop? How much would it cost to make? Could he actually build a working version? He was a second-year engineering student. He'd taken design classes. He knew how to use basic tools. His dad had a garage full of equipment back home in Ohio. Winter break started in 2 weeks. Tyler came back from the bathroom and saw Ryan scribbling away again. Still on that cup holder thing? Yeah. Ryan didn't look up. I'm going to build it over break. Build what? A prototype. A real working version. Tyler flopped onto his bed. Dude, you're supposed to be relaxing during break. Sleep, play video games. See your family. Not building random inventions. This could be big, though. Or it could be a waste of time. Tyler turned on his TV. No offense, but who's going to buy a cup holder for their laptop? Just be more careful with your drinks. Ryan didn't argue. Maybe Tyler was right. Maybe this was a dumb idea. But he couldn't shake the feeling that he'd stumbled onto something real. Something useful. Something that didn't exist yet but should. The next 2 weeks crawled by. Ryan finished his other exams, but his mind kept wandering back to his sketches. He refined the design during boring lectures. He measured his laptop's thickness with a ruler during study breaks. He researched magnets online when he should have been writing his English paper. Finally, the last day of the semester arrived. Ryan packed his car with clothes, his laptop, and his notebook full of designs. As he drove home to Ohio, his mind raced with possibilities. He had 3 weeks to turn his idea into reality. 3 weeks to see if this crazy notion could actually work. His parents were happy to see him when he arrived home. His mom had made his favorite dinner. His dad asked about his grades. His little sister wanted to hear about college parties. But Ryan's mind was elsewhere. After dinner, he went straight to the garage. He turned on the light and looked around. Tools hung on the walls. His dad's workbench sat in the corner. Boxes of screws, bolts, and random parts lined the shelves. This was where he'd build his invention. This was where everything would start. Ryan pulled out his notebook and opened it to his latest design. Tomorrow he'd go to the hardware store and buy supplies. Tomorrow he'd start building. Tomorrow his real journey would begin. He didn't know it yet, but that simple sketch in his notebook, born from frustration and a spilled water bottle at 2 a.m, would change his entire life in ways he couldn't possibly imagine. The hardware store smelled like sawdust and metal. Ryan walked through the aisles with a list in his hand, feeling both excited and nervous. He needed magnets, some kind of clip material, something soft to protect laptop surfaces, and a way to hold cups. An older employee noticed him staring at the magnet section for 10 minutes. Need help finding something, son? Ryan explained what he was trying to build. The employee, whose name tag said Bill, listened carefully. You'll want neodymium magnets, Bill said, pointing to a small box. They're strong. Real strong. But they're pricey. Ryan checked the price. $15 for a pack of 4 small magnets. He swallowed hard. He only had $200 saved from his summer job, and he needed to make this last for all his experiments. I'll take 2 packs, he said. He also bought silicone sheets, small metal clamps, plastic tubing, rubber grips, and various adhesives. By the time he left, he'd spent $80. His mom was going to ask questions when she saw the credit card bill. Back in the garage, Ryan spread everything out on the workbench. He put on safety glasses and grabbed his dad's tools. Time to start building. His first attempt was a disaster. He tried gluing a magnet to a metal clamp, thinking it would attach to the laptop. But the magnet wasn't strong enough to hold even an empty cup. The whole thing just slid down and fell off. Attempt number 2 used stronger magnets, but now the metal clamp scratched his laptop's surface. He tried wrapping it in electrical tape, but that looked terrible and still left marks. Attempt 3, 4, and 5 all failed in different ways. Either the magnet was too weak, the holder was too bulky, or the design couldn't fit different cup sizes. By day 5, Ryan's parents were getting concerned. His mom knocked on the garage door. Honey, are you coming inside? It's freezing out here and you've been working for 8 hours. Just a little longer, Mom. I'm close to figuring it out. Ryan, maybe you should take a break. Spend time with your family. Your sister misses you. I will, I promise, tomorrow. His dad was more direct. At dinner one night, he put down his fork and looked at Ryan seriously. Son, I support your creativity, but you're supposed to be on break, relaxing, recharging for next semester. Instead, you're obsessing over a cup holder. It's not just a cup holder, Dad. It's a solution to a real problem. Is it, though? Or are you avoiding something else? Your grades last semester weren't great. Maybe you should focus on school instead of side projects. Ryan felt his face get hot. My grades were fine, and this isn't just a side project. I really think this could work. His dad sighed. Okay, but promise me if this doesn't work out in the next week, you'll let it go and enjoy the rest of your break. Deal? Deal. That night, Ryan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Maybe everyone was right. Maybe he was wasting his time. Maybe this was a stupid idea that would never work. But he couldn't give up. Not yet. The breakthrough came on day 12. Ryan was sitting in the garage, frustrated and cold, looking at his pile of failed prototypes. He picked up one of the silicone sheets he'd bought. It was soft, flexible, and grippy. What if instead of attaching a hard clamp to the laptop, he made the entire attachment part out of silicone? He cut the silicone into a curved shape that could wrap around the edge of a laptop. Then he carefully embedded 2 strong neodymium magnets inside the silicone using a heat gun to seal them in. The magnets would hold it in place, but the silicone would protect the laptop from scratches. For the cup holder part, he molded more silicone into a ring shape with adjustable grips. It could expand to fit a large water bottle or tighten to hold a small coffee cup. His hands shook as he attached the pieces together. This was it. Prototype number 11. Ryan clipped it onto his laptop. It held firm. He tugged on it gently. It didn't budge. He put a full water bottle in the holder. The laptop stayed upright. The bottle stayed secure. Holy crap, he whispered. It works. He spent the next 3 hours testing it obsessively. He tried it on his dad's laptop, his mom's tablet, his sister's old computer. He tested it with coffee mugs, soda cans, wine glasses, even a soup thermos. Everything held perfectly. The silicone left no scratches. The magnets were strong enough to hold weight, but easy enough to remove when needed. The adjustable ring fit almost any drink container. Ryan burst into the living room where his family was watching TV. Look, I did it. It works. He demonstrated the cup holder, attaching and detaching it, showing how it held different cups. His little sister, Amy, looked genuinely impressed. That's actually pretty cool. Can I have one? Sure, if I make more. His mom smiled. It's very clever, honey. I'm proud of you for sticking with it. His dad examined it more carefully, testing the magnets and checking the silicone. This is solid work, Ryan. You might actually have something here. You think so? I do. What are you going to do with it? Ryan hadn't thought that far ahead. I don't know. Make a few more, I guess. Show my friends. Over the next week, Ryan made 5 more cup holders. Each one took about 4 hours to construct. His technique improved with each attempt. By the 5th one, he could make them look almost professional. He gave one to Amy, who immediately attached it to her laptop and took a photo for her Instagram. He packed the other 4 to bring back to school. On the drive back to campus after winter break, Ryan felt different. He'd spent 3 weeks of his vacation building something from scratch, something that actually worked, something that solved a real problem. Whether anyone else cared about it remained to be seen, but he felt proud. When he got back to his dorm room, Tyler was already there, unpacking. Hey man, how was break? Good, really good actually. Ryan pulled out one of the cup holders. Check this out. Tyler's eyes widened. No way. You actually made it? Yep. Want one? Seriously? Tyler took it and attached it to his laptop. He put his water bottle in it. Dude, this is actually awesome. How much did it cost to make? About $12 in materials, plus like 4 hours of work. You should sell these. Ryan laughed. Who would buy them? Are you kidding? Everyone in this building would want one. I'm telling you, this is genius. Over the next few days, Ryan showed his cup holder to friends in his classes. Every single person had the same reaction. First surprise that someone had made this, then excitement, then the question, where can I get one? His friend Hannah, who was always on social media, held the cup holder up to the light, examining it. Ryan, this is brilliant. Like, actually brilliant. Do you mind if I make a video showing how it works? Sure, go ahead. Cool. This is going to blow up on TikTok. Trust me. Ryan shrugged. He didn't think much about it. Hannah was always saying things would blow up on TikTok. Last week she thought a video of her cat would go viral. It got 40 views, but this time was different. This time Hannah was right. And neither of them had any idea what was about to happen. Hannah filmed her video on a Tuesday evening. She sat at her desk in the library with her laptop open, textbooks scattered around, and Ryan's cup holder attached to the side of her computer. A large iced coffee sat securely in the holder. She spoke to the camera in her usual energetic way. Okay, so I'm studying for my psychology exam and look at my desk. It's a mess, right? Books everywhere, no space, and I always knock over my drinks. She gestured at the cluttered surface. But my friend made this thing and honestly, it's changing my life. She demonstrated removing the cup holder and reattaching it. She showed how it fit different-sized drinks. She even gave her laptop a gentle shake to prove the coffee stayed put. Like, why didn't this exist already? She said to the camera. Someone tag Ryan and tell him he's a genius. She tagged Ryan's account and posted it at 8 p.m. with the caption, "Finally a solution to my biggest study problem." Ryan was eating dinner in the dining hall when his phone started buzzing. At first just a few notifications, then more, then they didn't stop. He pulled out his phone and his eyes went wide. Hannah's video had 5,000 views, 10,000, 20,000. The numbers kept climbing as he watched. Dude, are you seeing this? Tyler leaned over to look at Ryan's screen. Yeah, I don't understand what's happening. Comments flooded in. Where do I buy this? I need this. Take my money. This is actually brilliant. College students everywhere need to see this. By the time Ryan finished dinner, the video had 50,000 views. His Instagram was exploding with messages from strangers asking where to purchase the cup holder. His phone battery was draining from constant notifications. He called Hannah. She answered screaming, "Ryan, did you see? It's going crazy." "I know. What do I do?" "Everyone's asking where to buy them, but I don't sell them. I just made a few for friends." "Well, you better figure it out fast because this video isn't slowing down." She was right. By midnight, the video had hit 200,000 views. Tech bloggers were sharing it. College student accounts were reposting it. Even some influencers with millions of followers were commenting on it. Ryan couldn't sleep. He lay in bed watching the numbers climb. 300,000, 400,000. His mind raced. Could he actually sell these? How would he even start? He got up and opened his laptop. He had no business experience, no website, no inventory, no plan. But he had hundreds of people asking to give him money for something he'd built in his garage. The next morning, Ryan skipped his 9 a.m. class. He texted his friend Brandon, a computer science major who'd built websites before. "I need your help. Can you build me a simple website to sell something?" Brandon replied within seconds. "Dude, I saw Hannah's video. That's your thing? That's genius." They met at a coffee shop an hour later. Ryan explained the situation while Brandon pulled up his laptop. "I can build you a basic e-commerce site by tonight," Brandon said, his fingers already typing. "But you need to decide on a name, a price, and figure out how you're going to make enough of these to fulfill orders." Name. Right. Ryan thought for a moment. "What about Clip Cup? Simple, clear. I like it. Price? It cost me about $12 to make one. I spent 4 hours on each, but I was learning. I could probably do it in 2 hours now if I made several at once." "Okay, so your material cost is $12. You need to account for shipping, packaging, and your time. Similar products online sell for $15 to $30. I'd say price it at $19.99. Ryan did quick math in his head. $20 minus 12 in materials minus maybe 3 for shipping and packaging. That left him $5 profit per unit. If he sold 100, that was $500. Not bad for something he'd invented in his garage. $19.99 works, Ryan agreed. Cool. Now the tricky part. How many can you actually make? Ryan thought about it. If I drop some classes and focus on this, maybe 10 per day. Brandon looked at him seriously. Ryan, Hannah's video has over 1 million views now. You might get way more orders than you can handle by yourself. Then what do I do? Pre-orders. Tell people it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to ship. That gives you time to figure out manufacturing. They worked all day Friday. Brandon built the website while Ryan wrote product descriptions, took photos, and created social media accounts. By 9 p.m., clipcup.com was live. The website was simple: a homepage with Hannah's video embedded, a product page with clear photos and descriptions, a checkout page for pre-orders. That was it. Ryan posted the link on his Instagram story. For everyone asking, pre-orders are now live at ClipCup. Come ships in 6-8 weeks. Thanks for the support. He refreshed the order page. 0 orders. He waited 5 minutes. Still 0. Maybe nobody actually wanted to buy it. Maybe the video views were just people watching for entertainment, not potential customers. Then his phone dinged. Order number 1. He refreshed the page. Order number 2, 3, 5, 10, Brandon. Look at this. They watched the order counter together. 20, 40, 60. The orders were coming in faster than they could count. Holy crap, Brandon whispered. By midnight, Ryan had 200 orders. By Saturday morning, 500. By Sunday evening, he had over 3,000 pre-orders. Ryan sat in his dorm room staring at the number on his screen. 3,000 people had just paid $19.99 to buy something he'd invented. That was almost $60,000 in sales. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. This was real. This was actually happening. But then the panic set in. He had 3,000 orders and no way to fulfill them. Making them by hand would take him years. He needed a real manufacturing solution, and he needed it fast. Monday morning, Ryan went to his engineering professor's office hours. Professor Kim had been teaching for 30 years and had connections in manufacturing. Ryan explained his situation, showing her the prototype and the order numbers. Professor Kim examined the cup holder carefully. This is impressive work, Ryan. The design is simple but effective. You've identified a real market need. Thank you, but I have no idea how to manufacture 3,000 of these. She pulled out her phone and scrolled through contacts. I know someone who runs a small manufacturing facility about 2 hours from here. They specialize in silicone products. Let me make a call. 2 days later, Ryan was standing in a factory talking to the owner about production costs. To manufacture 3,000 units would cost $8 each instead of $12. But he needed to pay up front. That was $24,000. Ryan didn't have $24,000. He had about $300 in his bank account. He called his parents that night. Mom, Dad, I need to ask you something big. He explained everything. The video, the orders, the manufacturing opportunity. He needed to borrow money, but he'd pay them back within months. His parents were silent for a long moment. Finally, his dad spoke. This is a lot of money, Ryan, and a big risk. What if something goes wrong? Then I'll get a job and pay you back slowly. But Dad, people want this. 3,000 people already paid for it. I just need help getting it made. His mom said something quietly to his dad in the background. Then his dad came back on the line. Okay, we'll loan you $24,000, but you need to treat this like a real business. Keep records. Be professional. And if it fails, you promise to focus back on school. Deal? Deal, thank you. Thank you so much. Ryan hung up and stared at his laptop screen. The order count had reached 15,000. This was bigger than anything he'd imagined. And it was only just beginning. Ryan dropped 3 of his 5 classes. He kept just enough credits to remain a full-time student, but barely. His parents weren't thrilled about it, but they understood. This was bigger than homework now. The manufacturing facility said they could produce the first batch of 20,000 units in 6 weeks. Yes, 20,000. The orders kept coming. By the time Ryan signed the manufacturing contract, he had 18,000 pre-orders. He decided to make extras to have inventory ready. Those 6 weeks were the longest of Ryan's life. He checked his email constantly, worried customers would ask for refunds. Some did, most were patient. He sent weekly updates to everyone who'd ordered, showing photos of the manufacturing process, keeping people excited. He also rented a small warehouse space off campus. It was basically a large storage unit, but it had electricity and enough room to store inventory and set up a shipping station. He hired 5 students to help with packaging and shipping when the products arrived. He paid them $15 an hour. Brandon helped him set up a system for tracking orders and inventory. They bought a cheap label printer, hundreds of boxes, bubble wrap, and packing tape. Everything was ready. They just needed the actual products. Finally, on a Tuesday morning in early March, a massive truck pulled up to the warehouse. The driver opened the back to reveal hundreds of boxes stacked floor to ceiling. "Sign here," the driver said, handing Ryan a clipboard. Ryan's hand shook as he signed. This was it. 20,000 clip cups. His invention. His design. Mass-produced and real. He and his team spent the entire day unloading boxes. When they finally finished, Ryan opened one of the packages and pulled out a clip cup. It looked perfect. The silicone was smooth. The magnets were properly embedded. The cup holder ring was flexible and strong. He attached it to his laptop and put his water bottle in it, just like his original prototype. But somehow seeing it mass-produced made it feel more real. "All right, team," Ryan addressed his 5 helpers. "We have 18,000 orders to ship. Let's get to work." For the next 3 weeks, the warehouse became their second home. They worked 12-hour days. Pack a clip cup, add a thank you card, seal the box, print the label, stack it with the others, repeat. Ryan's back hurt. His hands were covered in paper cuts from the cardboard boxes. He survived on energy drinks and pizza, but he couldn't stop smiling. They were doing it. They were actually fulfilling all these orders. The first reviews started coming in. A notification popped up on Ryan's phone. Someone had left a 5-star review on the website. "This is genius. No more spilled drinks on my laptop. Worth every penny." Then another, and another. By the end of the first week of shipments, ClipCup had over 200 reviews with an average rating of 4.8 stars. People were posting photos on social media. Students at universities across the country were using ClipCups. Some people made unboxing videos. Tech influencers started reaching out asking for free samples to review. Ryan sent samples to a few bigger influencers. Within days, their videos were getting hundreds of thousands of views. Each video brought more orders. Ryan had to order another production run of 30,000 units. Then came the email that changed everything. It was from a buyer at Target. "Hello Ryan, we've been seeing a lot of buzz around ClipCup and we're interested in carrying it in our stores. Would you be available for a call to discuss a potential partnership?" Ryan read the email 3 times to make sure it was real. Target, the actual Target, wanted to sell his product. He immediately called his dad. "Dad, Target wants to carry ClipCup." "What? Are you serious?" "Dead serious. I have an email from one of their buyers." "What do I do?" "You need a lawyer. And probably a business advisor. This is way bigger than a college side project now." His dad connected him with a business attorney who helped review contracts. Over the next month, Ryan had several calls with Target. They wanted to order 50,000 units for their back-to-school section. They'd pay wholesale, which meant Ryan would make less per unit, but the volume was massive. Then Amazon reached out, then Best Buy, then several smaller retail chains. Everyone wanted ClipCup. By May, 4 months after Hannah's video went viral, Ryan had sold over 200,000 units. Between direct sales on his website and wholesale orders to retailers, the revenue was staggering. He sat in his dorm room late one night, looking at the numbers spreadsheet Brandon had helped him create. After all expenses, manufacturing costs, shipping, employee wages, marketing, warehouse rent, and other overhead, his personal profit was over $1.7 million. $1.7 million. He was 20 years old. Ryan closed his laptop and walked to the bathroom. He looked at himself in the mirror. He looked the same. Same face, same clothes, same messy hair, but everything had changed. 4 months ago, he was a struggling engineering student worried about failing thermodynamics. Now he was running a business with employees, retail partnerships, and more money than his parents made in 10 years. Tyler walked in and saw Ryan standing there. "You okay, man?" "Yeah, just thinking." "Remember when you said nobody would buy a laptop cup holder?" Tyler laughed. "I'm an idiot. I fully admit it. You proved me completely wrong. You weren't an idiot." It did sound crazy, but sometimes crazy ideas work. The next week, Ryan flew home to visit his parents. He walked into their house carrying an envelope. His parents were in the living room watching TV. "Hey, Mom, Dad, I have something for you." He handed them the envelope. His dad opened it and pulled out a check. His eyes went wide. "Ryan, this is for $200,000, I know. $24,000 to pay back your loan. The rest is to pay off your mortgage and have some extra." His mom started crying. "Honey, you don't have to do this." "I want to. You took a risk on me. You believed in me when this was just a sketch in a notebook. This is the least I can do." His dad pulled him into a tight hug. "I'm so proud of you, son." Later that evening, Amy showed Ryan her Instagram. She'd posted a photo of her clip cup months ago, and the post had gotten thousands of likes. "I'm basically famous now because my brother invented this," she said, grinning. "Oh, really? How many followers do you have now?" 3,000. "All because of you." Back at school, media requests started coming in. Local news wanted to interview him. Business podcasts wanted him as a guest. Even Forbes reached out about including him in an article about young entrepreneurs. Ryan did a few interviews. He talked about the importance of solving real problems, about not being afraid to try new things, about how failure is part of the process because he'd failed 10 times before making a prototype that worked. Walking across campus became weird. People recognized him. Strangers would stop him to say they loved their clip cup. Professors who'd never spoken to him before would ask about his business. One afternoon, a girl from his old thermodynamics class approached him in the library. "Hey, you're the clip cup guy, right?" "Yeah, that's me. I have one. It's literally the best thing ever. I was studying the other night and realized I hadn't spilled a drink in weeks because of it. Just wanted to say thanks." Moments like that made everything worth it. Real people using his invention. Real problems being solved. That was better than the money, better than the recognition, better than anything. But success brought new challenges. Competitors started appearing. Cheap knockoffs flooded online marketplaces. Ryan had to hire a lawyer to send cease and desist letters to companies stealing his design. It was exhausting and expensive. He also had to make big decisions about the future. Should he stay in school or focus on the business full-time? Should he hire a professional CEO or keep running things himself? Should he raise money from investors to grow faster? These weren't questions a 20-year-old college student was supposed to answer. But here he was, making choices that would affect his entire future. The weight of it all sometimes kept him up at night. Ryan sat across from a woman in an expensive suit. They were in a downtown office building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The woman, whose name was Patricia, ran a business consulting firm that specialized in helping young companies grow. "So Ryan, let me be direct. You've built something remarkable in a very short time, but you're at a crossroads. You can keep running this yourself and maybe grow slowly, or you can bring in experienced leadership and scale this into something much bigger." "What does that mean exactly?" "It means hiring a CEO, someone who's done this before. Someone who knows how to manage operations, negotiate with retailers, handle supply chain issues. You're talented, Ryan, but you're also 20 years old with no business experience." Ryan felt defensive but knew she was right. He'd been learning everything on the fly. Making mistakes. Feeling overwhelmed constantly. What would my role be? Chief Product Officer. You'd focus on innovation, new designs, and brand identity, the things you're actually good at. Let someone else handle the business operations side. It was hard to imagine handing over control of something he'd built, but it also sounded like a relief. He'd been drowning in responsibilities that he didn't fully understand. "I need to think about it," Ryan said. "Of course, but don't wait too long. Your competitors aren't sitting still." That night, Ryan called his dad and explained the situation. "Dad, what would you do?" His dad was quiet for a moment. "Son, I've worked at the same company for 25 years. I'm not an entrepreneur, but I'll tell you what I think. You're brilliant at creating things and solving problems. You're not naturally a business operations person, and that's okay. Not everyone has to be good at everything. So you think I should hire a CEO? I think you should do what lets you keep doing what you love. If running the business side makes you miserable, you'll eventually start to hate the whole thing. But if you can focus on creating and innovating, you'll thrive." 2 weeks later, Ryan hired a CEO. Her name was Linda, and she had 15 years of experience in consumer products. She was smart, organized, and most importantly, she understood Ryan's vision. The change was immediate. Linda restructured operations, negotiated better manufacturing deals, and established proper accounting systems. She hired a proper team, moved the business into a real office, and treated ClipCup like the serious company it had become. Ryan was free to focus on what he loved. He started designing new products: a phone holder attachment, a tablet stand, a laptop cooling pad with built-in storage, all solving simple problems he noticed in daily life. He also decided to take a gap year from school. Not dropping out, just pausing. He needed to give the business his full attention while it was growing so fast. His parents supported the decision as long as he promised to eventually finish his degree. By the end of his gap year, Clip Cup had sold over 500,000 units. They'd expanded internationally, shipping to 15 countries. The product line had grown to 5 different accessories. Revenue hit $8 million. Ryan moved into a small apartment near the office. Nothing fancy, but it was his own space. He bought a decent car, nothing extravagant. He put most of his money in savings and investments, following advice from a financial advisor his dad had recommended. But the best part wasn't the money or the success. It was the impact. Ryan received emails daily from customers thanking him. Students who could study more efficiently, remote workers whose desks were less cluttered, people with disabilities who found the cup holder made their workspace more accessible. One email in particular stood out. It was from a woman named Carol who had arthritis. She wrote that the Clip Cup meant she didn't have to reach across her desk constantly, which reduced her pain. She could work longer without discomfort. Ryan printed that email and kept it in his office. He also started a scholarship fund at his university. Every semester, he gave $50,000 to support engineering students working on inventions and startups. He wanted to help others like his parents had helped him. The scholarship announcement made local news. Ryan gave an interview explaining why he started it. "I got lucky," he told the reporter. "I had an idea and I had support. Not everyone has that. If this scholarship helps even one person turn their idea into reality, it'll be worth it." He also started mentoring young inventors. Once a month, he'd meet with students who had product ideas. He'd review their prototypes, offer advice, share his mistakes, and connect them with manufacturers or investors when appropriate. One student he mentored was named Chris. Chris had designed a better backpack organizer for college students. Ryan recognized the same spark in Chris that he'd had. The desire to solve a simple problem that everyone experienced but nobody had fixed. Ryan helped Chris refine the design, connected him with his manufacturer, and even invested $10,000 in Chris's company. 6 months later, Chris's backpack organizer was selling well, not Clip Cup level, but enough for Chris to hire a small team and grow. Watching Chris succeed felt almost as good as his own success. Maybe even better. A year after his gap year started, Ryan returned to campus to finish his degree. Walking through the same buildings where he'd first sketched the Clip Cup design felt surreal. He'd been gone for only a year, but everything had changed. He saw students using Clip Cups everywhere. In the library, in lecture halls, in the dining hall. His invention had become a normal part of campus life. Most students didn't even know he'd invented it. Tyler had graduated and moved away, so Ryan got a new roommate. A freshman named Alex who had no idea who Ryan was. On move-in day, Alex unpacked a Clip Cup and attached it to his laptop. "Oh, you have one of those," Ryan said, trying not to smile. "Yeah, my sister got it for me as a graduation gift. Best thing ever."
Have you seen these?
"They're genius." "Yeah, I've seen them." Ryan never told Alex he'd invented it. He liked being just a regular student again, at least in his dorm room. But campus life had changed for him. Professors treated him differently now. The business school asked him to give guest lectures. The engineering department wanted him on their advisory board. The school newspaper ran a feature story about him. Sometimes he missed being anonymous. Just another student worried about exams and assignments. But he'd made his choice and he didn't regret it. One evening, Ryan walked past the same library study room where he'd first noticed everyone struggling with drinks and cluttered desks. He stopped and looked through the window. Students sat at the same cramped desks. Many had Clip Cups attached to their laptops. He thought about that night 2 years ago when he'd spilled his water bottle for the 3rd time that week. How frustrated he'd been. How a simple moment of annoyance had sparked an idea that changed his entire life. Hannah walked by and saw him standing there. "Hey, you're back. How does it feel to be a regular student again?" Ryan smiled. "Weird, good weird, but weird. You know my video has like 10 million views now." "Seriously?" "Yeah, people still watch it and comment. I tell them all it was your invention. Thanks for making that video, by the way. None of this would have happened without it." Hannah shrugged. "I just filmed what you made. You did all the hard work." Later that week, Ryan gave his first guest lecture at the business school. The room was packed with students curious about his story. He stood at the front looking at faces full of ambition and ideas. "I'm not going to tell you that success is easy," he started. or that every idea will work out. I failed 10 times before I made a prototype that worked. I almost gave up multiple times. My roommate thought I was crazy. My parents were worried I was wasting my time. He paused, looking at the students taking notes. But here's what I learned. The best ideas come from noticing simple problems that everyone experiences, but nobody talks about. The kind of small frustrations we all just accept as normal. Those are opportunities. Don't ignore them. Don't dismiss them as too simple or too obvious. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most powerful. A student raised their hand. What if you have an idea but you're scared to try it? Ryan smiled. Then you're normal. I was terrified. I'm still terrified sometimes. But you know what's scarier than trying and failing? Never trying and always wondering what if. Build the thing. Test the thing. Show people. Get feedback. Improve it, repeat. Don't wait for it to be perfect. Perfect never comes. After the lecture, several students came up to show him their own invention ideas. Rough sketches. Half-built prototypes. Wild concepts. Ryan listened to each one, offering encouragement and advice. He saw himself in every one of them. That night back in his apartment, Ryan sat at his desk with his original notebook. The one where he'd first sketched the clip cup design at 2 a.m. after spilling water on his textbooks. He flipped through the pages, looking at all his failed attempts and crossed out ideas. On the last page, he wrote a note to his future self. A reminder of how this all started. A simple problem, a frustrated student, a moment of inspiration, and the decision to try. He closed the notebook and looked around his apartment. At the clip cup prototype sitting on his shelf, at the news articles framed on the wall, at the thank you letters from customers pinned to his bulletin board. 2 years ago, he'd been a regular student worried about failing thermodynamics. Now he was running a successful company, mentoring other inventors and making a real difference in people's lives, all because he'd paid attention to a simple problem and decided to solve it. Ryan picked up his phone and texted his dad. Hey, just wanted to say thanks again for believing in me. For the loan. For everything. Love you, his dad replied immediately. Proud of you, son. Always have been. Always will be. Now go get some sleep. You have class tomorrow. Ryan smiled and set down his phone. Tomorrow he'd be back to being a student. Attending lectures, taking notes, studying for exams, living a somewhat normal college life. But everything was different now. He'd proven to himself that ideas matter, that simple solutions can change lives, that age and experience aren't requirements for success. And somewhere out there, in dorm rooms and libraries and coffee shops, students were using clip cups right now, studying without spilling, working without frustration, living with one less small problem to worry about. That was worth more than any amount of money. That was what made everything worthwhile. A simple invention that made life just a little bit easier for hundreds of thousands of people. That was the real success story. Not the money or the fame or the recognition, just the quiet satisfaction of solving a problem and helping people. Ryan turned off his desk lamp and headed to bed. Tomorrow was another day. Another chance to notice problems. Another opportunity to create solutions. Another moment to make a difference. He was just getting started.